Hi, I'm Richard Karn, and you may have seen me on TV talking about the world's #1 expandable garden hose. Well, the brand new Pocket Hose Copperhead with Pocket Pivot is here, and it's a total game changer. Old-fashioned hoses get kinks and creases at the spigot, but the Copperhead's Pocket Pivot swivels 360 degrees for full water flow and freedom to water with ease all around your home. When you're all done, this rust-proof anti-burst hose shrinks back down to pocket size for effortless handling and tidy storage. Plus, your super light and ultra-durable Pocket Hose Copperhead is backed with a 10-year warranty. What could be better than that? I'll tell you what, an exciting exclusive offer just for you. For a limited time, you can get a free Pocket Pivot and their 10-pattern sprayer with the purchase of any size Copperhead hose. Just text WATER to 64,000. That's WATER to 64,000 for your 2 free gifts with purchase. WATER to 64,000.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Pocket Hose. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at pockethose.com/terms.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
Are you fed up with the corporate bullshit holding you back? Welcome to Invest in Yourself, the digital entrepreneur podcast, the ultimate launchpad for entrepreneurs ready to seize control and unleash their creative genius. Hosted by Phil Better, the Podcast Mogul. Each week he's breaking the chains of conventional work with bold strategies, raw insights, and inspiring success stories from the digital entrepreneurs who took the risk and invested in themselves. This is your call to arms. Invest in yourself. Break free from someone else's rules and build the empire you deserve. Now let's dive headfirst into today's explosive episode.
Welcome back to another amazing episode of Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm, of course, your host with the most, Phil Better. And today's guest is someone who truly embodies creativity, vision, and business acumen all in one. If you ever wondered how to break free from the traditional mold of marketing and build something unique and forward-thinking, then you're in for a real treat, because our guest today is the president and founder of Forethought, an innovative marketing agency that does things differently. Their approach isn't your typical one-size-fits-all marketing firm. Instead, they customize their process for each and every client. Bringing in expert team members as needed, meaning you only pay for what you truly require. Her vision for Forethought is rooted in the future, with all her employees working virtually as autonomous partners, reflecting their increasingly global worldwide reach. Beyond her impressive 3 decades marketing career, our guest is an adventurer at heart, a marathoner, an art supporter, and a businesswoman who is likely to be sliding down rocks in Asheville as she's dancing to YouTube in Las Vegas. Her creativity, spirit, and boundless ideas, combined with her dedication and business savvy, make her a true powerhouse in the industry. So I am thrilled and super excited to have our guest today. So please welcome Suzanne Scarano. I just messed up the last name. I'm sorry, Suzanne. I know beforehand I asked and I was like, yes, I got it. And then I put my foot in my mouth. Scarano, right? Scarano?
Thank you, Scarano. Yes. And that is what a wonderful introduction. My gosh, can we meet weekly? I love that.
For sure. I will be glad to, you just call me and be like, Phil, I need that intro, and I'll read it to you, pump you up. That's my job here on Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. I invest my energy into you so that you can bring us the gold, and I'll hype you up until the day is done. So Suzanne, let's just start right away. First, thank you for being here. I'm excited, as you could tell by the intro, But why? Why did you decide to flip the script and become an entrepreneur? What was it about entrepreneurs that just galvanized your soul into doing it?
Thank you for having me. And I always love that question. I worked at an advertising agency that was traditional. It was a while ago, more than 15 years ago. I started there 29 years ago. And I was there for 14 years because I loved what I did. I absolutely loved meeting with clients, understanding what their challenges were, and bringing them solutions. I just felt there was a better way to do it. And the company that I worked for at the time was owned by a single, private ownership. And I'll never forget, the owner and I went to a meeting one day, and geographically, my apartment was only about a mile from where the meeting was, and our office was about 5 miles. So it wasn't really that far, but we left a meeting at 4:00 in the afternoon on a Thursday. And he says, "I'll see you back at the office." And I thought, my God, there must be a better way. It's a beautiful day in South Florida. I could go to the beach. I could find a yoga class. I could, really back at the office at 4:00 to do what? Not to say that there weren't days that we had a lot of work and, you roll up your sleeves and do it. I just felt that with the technology and the digital world that we lived in, we could work from home. We could work from anywhere. And frankly, a great idea doesn't always come from an office chair. It could come from a beach chair, or, the greatest meetings don't necessarily have to happen in a boardroom. They can happen in a family room, quite literally. So in 2009, I thought about what I wanted my life to look like and what I wanted to do and how my career that I loved could be a part of it, not rule it. And I couldn't find it, so I created it. I never really had the passion or dreams of being an entrepreneur. It was the situation that I was in telling me, "Suzanne, you're still young. You're still single. What's going on? You need to prioritize your life and not just your career." So yeah, I decided at that very moment when I got in my little Miata and I was like, what am I doing? Going back to an office? I got to figure out something. I spent the next 6 months burning the candle at both ends. So, I have a lot of integrity. When I was at work, I worked, but at home, I wrote my business plan. I figured out what it would look like, what platforms I could use for project management, how I would hire people to work remotely. If and when we needed to meet, where would we meet? And I created a business. And about 6 months after that meeting, I said, "See you later. I'm going to go start my own gig."
Personally, I couldn't understand why he would want to go back 4:00. Come on. All right, we're good. We'll go back. We're going to write one line from the meeting, and then it's 5 p.m. and it's like, I'm out of here? Nah. Or probably the traffic at that time. By the time you get there, it's 5 p.m. and you're like, oh, okay, I have to go now. God, yeah, I would be with you. Like, what is this? But I love how a small little situation like that propped up your idea about, let's move into the future. We're working in the 1950s style. We have to go back to the office. We're in the 21st century here. We have technology, and it decided to just get you going. My question is, what was your first big hurdle that you faced when you finally just did decide to kick off and go, I'm creating, was Forethought, was that Forethought at the beginning? I'm jumping like 84,000 questions. I'm sorry. I'm just so excited. So we're going to do this. Was Forethought birthed during those 6 months, or was Forethought something that came later?
Oh no, Forethought, that happened. I literally sat in my car. I said, there has to be a better way. And I don't know what that looks like, but I'm going to create a way of doing what I love in a life that I am loving. We are, I believe that we're human beings. We're not human doings. We're here to be and experience the things that bring us tremendous joy. And it's not to say that my career doesn't bring me joy. I love what I do. But when it rules your life and you are confined by times and days of the week and, just meetings, it doesn't feel good. So how can I make it feel good? So it was birthed at that very moment, not quite the name. The name took me a minute to think through. And the 6 months was really me looking at what do I need to start a business, right? What would the budget look like? What expenses will I have? How much salary do I actually need? What do I have in savings to float me through if this doesn't work? And just have a plan. I wanted a plan. And I actually have another funny story about that. So I took the 6 months, and I was a business major. So I had all the templates I needed and all the tools to create this really awesome, who's my target audience? And, what is the accounting look like? And I put all of this on paper. And after I left, I had a dear friend who introduced me to a colleague at a university, and he was a dean of a business school. So he agreed to meet me for breakfast. And I said, oh, I'm so excited to meet with you. I want to share with you what I've done. I put together this business plan. I'd love some feedback. I start telling him, he says, yeah, let me see this business plan. He ripped it right in front of my face. And I had a moment like,
Jesus Murphy.
I'm like, I just spent 6 months doing that. What's wrong with you? You didn't even open it. And you know what he said to me? I'll never forget these words. He said, Suzanne, the reason why you do that is to go through the discipline of having the knowledge that you can do it. But the reality is you're going to just go with the flow. Whatever happens, happens. If your clients, if the services that you came up with don't fit their needs, you're going to shift and provide them the services that do. Be authentic, be your true self, do what's right for them. Go with the flow. Forget about the business plan. I'm proud of you that you did it, but you don't need that. You just need the drive that you've always had. And I was like, okay, I got it.
I love that Dean. That dude, that person is a genius, because old school, if you're going to build a brick and mortar, yeah, a business plan is needed because you're going to get that loan and this and that and the building. But we're in the 21st century. Our brick and mortar is our laptop most of the time, or a computer. Once you have that, you're pretty much set, because the internet is free real estate, or it's very cheap real estate.
Yep. You also have to have the drive.
Yes, right? The drive is very much important. If you don't have the drive, you can't do it.
And that's pretty much what he was telling me. He was saying, listen, it's great that you did this, but what you need to do is believe in yourself, go out there and make it happen. That's the key here. And I feel like, especially, I know we have a lot of folks that have either just started a business or on their way to the next level. And sometimes you hit these obstacles that you're like, oh, what am I going to do? How am I going to do this? But as soon as you remember, this was my idea and I am going to bet on myself, that's the best horse you're ever going to put in the race, right? Nobody, you know better than anyone else that you're going to make it happen. So that kind of came full circle for me with that gentleman giving me that. I was like,
that is a slap to the face, but a good one to wake you out of the dream. Because sometimes a lot of people just hardcore focus on, okay, I need to have the business plan. I need to know this. I need to know that. When in reality, just do it. Just like Nike says, just do it, go for it, see what happens. And then people who will help you will come into your life and will be able to guide you down safely down the rapids that is entrepreneurship. Because if anything, there's a lot of rapids and a lot of bumps in this. And I want to talk to you about that. Like, what was your, after seeing the guy rip up your business plan, I'm pretty sure that was a big bump. But when it came to your clients, like, what was the biggest bump or the first bump you hit on your journey down the road of entrepreneurship?
Let's see. I was very lucky because I had been at the other place for 14 years. I always networked. I was always out there. People knew who I was. They knew the integrity of what I did, the quality of what I did. It was pretty easy at the beginning. And it's funny now, it's coming to me when you ask the question. I say, gosh, I don't know, but this is really what happened. 2009, I launched. In 2011, I was doing really well. I was making some pretty good money. The first year, there was probably just run of the mill, getting things set up. And I never lost any money, but it was just, sales were good. They were decent. By year 3, I'm like kicking butt. I was like, wow, I am making so much money. This is exciting. And you start to see these numbers. And I got a little wrapped up in the success and the money. And I started to become a workaholic. And I'm like, look at me here working from my apartment 24/7 because it's always in my face, right? I always had the ability to just go to the desk and work. Whereas before I'd go to the office and there was that little bit of separation. So it was a wake-up call that my beloved and one of my cousins who was almost like a brother to me sadly passed away unexpectedly at a very young age. And the gift that he gave me was me realizing, what are you doing, Suzanne? You literally created this business to be free from the confines of corporate and organizational. And now here you are working at 9, 10 o'clock at night. That wasn't the plan. Life is too precious. You only have this one chance. This isn't a dress rehearsal. Stop it. And I made a very conscious, all right, you know what? This is not what I planned for. I plan to have an amazing life and have my career be a part of it. It's not about the money. It's about the ability to go to that yoga class or to just take a day off and go to the movies if I want, or come up with something new, a new project, maybe do a puzzle, anything. It's not about the work and it's not about watching those numbers roll up in the bank. It really isn't. So the biggest hurdle for me was once I got that success, being able to separate and say, whoa, what are my priorities here? And my priorities were a good quality life. It wasn't about the money. So I did lease an office space. I said, you know what? I want to create a little bit of separation. It's not to say that I'm not going to take my laptop and do things. And I don't go to the office every day. I don't like coming here every day, right? I come a couple of times a week for a Zoom, but it helped separate a little bit. It helped get the desk out of being in front of my face, basically. And so the obstacle was getting caught up in that. This is exciting. I'm making a lot of money and saying, what did I really do here? I really wanted it to be about quality of life. So let's keep the eye on the prize. And that's what we did.
I love that. Keeping yourself reminded of why you started this business, not to just drive 5 miles to go to the office at 4 o'clock after a meeting. No, we wanted to, just drive that mile, get home, put our sandals on, go to the beach. You're in Florida. Of course, you're going to go to the beach and enjoy yourself, With everything you've done, how did you decide that you wanted to work with the experts, but only hire them when you need? Like, that is completely unconventional, which I love, because I love unconventional businesses, because entrepreneurs think so amazingly. What made you decide, like, hey, you may not need a press writer right now, but we have them on staff, so when you need it, we'll hire them? What made you decide to go down that route and not just go like the old school, we do everything and you pay for everything?
Thank you. I love that question because it really helps me explain the Forethought model even more, right? So first of all, it was 2009. The South Florida real estate bubble had burst. I had so many friends that had lost their jobs. So many people who, left, right, and center, graphic designers, copywriters, account managers who were being let go, agencies that were closing or downsizing. And part of my passion, besides creating a better life for myself, my why, the why purpose of Suzanne on this earth is to create a space where we can all live our best lives. So there was a desire for me to support other people in seeing there is a better way. Like, let's all band against this big machine and do things differently. I wanted to offer people jobs that I had a lot of friends. So instead of just saying one person, I wanted to have different people disposable to me. And I thought about the client. I said, if the client, doesn't need something, why would we sell it to them? So if we structure this differently and they say, hey, what exactly are your communication gaps? How do we fill them? One client might need graphic design and web building, et cetera. And another one might just need media buying. So if we tailor the team specifically around their needs, they're going to save money. I get to have different people I can share the wealth with and have availability, depending on what's going on. I can shift around. It just made us more nimble, right? Instead of saying, okay, I've got this huge overhead. I've got all these people. I've got this office. I've got to pay insurance, parking, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's why you have to charge people a lot of money. But if everybody's working from home and there's this fluidity, as long as you're really strong on internal communication, right? So we always have weekly meetings within departments to make sure that we're communicating. Everybody's uber clear on what needs to get done. We have project management and processes. You need to have processes in place that everybody's following. There's no reason why it can't work, which was interesting because then fast forward 11 years later, I'm sitting there in 2020 like, wow, did we have a crystal ball or what?
Really did have forethought.
Thank you. Thank you for setting that up for me. I mean, we didn't have to pivot. We already had everything on the cloud. We had secure server, we knew, and the industries that we focused on were always healthcare, education, and financial services, all essential. We didn't have a blip. It wasn't a growth year, but we just stayed totally steady. We didn't have to let anybody go. We had different people that could jump in. Some people had, oh my gosh, my kids, I'm trying to help them on their classes on Zoom. I'm home alone. I don't have any support with dinner and laundry and da 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 da. And then other people who are like, hey, I can jump in and do this because I've got nothing going on. I'm stuck at home. So it was easy to move the pieces around. We didn't have to pivot. We were already there. We're like, welcome to the party world.
You're like, we've been here for 11 years. Where were you?
What were you doing?
Oh my God. I love that. Like, I first of all, I love the fact that the name of your company is Forethought. You already had the forethought to think of, hey, staying remote, being nimble, being able to be pitching left and right, and having teammates that are willing to help. Because that's what you built. You built the culture of helping and knowing that everybody's equal on the team and everybody's getting the work that they need. That's a testament to you for the culture that you built inside your business. And that is impressive because not a lot of businesses build that helping culture. They have good cultures, but they don't have the forethought again. But I think that's going to be the theme of this episode, just forethought. But you built it so that everybody knows they're equal inside and they work together, and you have those processes so that if one team member needs to jump over on another project, they have the process to help them, which I think is brilliant. Again, forethought, amazing. And
I'm going to add something on there, if I may. I'm glad you brought that up. I said before, we're human beings. And a lot of times you have someone who says, my daughter has a field trip on Thursday, and I'd really like to be the chaperone at the field trip. So I've had so many people say, we've got to do this for Alicia because we know Alicia is going to be on that field trip and we want her to have fun and we don't want to bother her. Or my mom is sick and she needs to go to the doctor. Can I take her to the doctor on Tuesday? Everybody jumps in and says, hey, let's not bother Madeline because she, and that to me is such a testament to the type of, we want everybody to excel in the virtual space, in the space of we're not going to an office. We never want to go to an office. We never want to have to go to an office. The other funny part of it is we do have several meetings a year, right? So we'll have what we call Forethought Day, where we all get together. It's kind of like a mini retreat. We do some housekeeping, operational stuff, have a fun lunch, and then have a speaker come in and just have some real interesting topic that would light us up and get us engaged for the future. We have quarterly meetings. So we do get together. And then we have fun. We'll go to like Putt Shack or, Top Golf and have a fun holiday party. So, and at the last one, when we raised our glasses, I said, I want to toast to being virtual every day and being together today. When we are together, everybody shows up because they want to, right? Because they want to be with each other and have a good meal, time, fun. And that's the beauty of it. The culture is such that we support each other because we all want us to live our best lives. We want you to go on that field trip. We want you to help your mom. You got to take your dog to the vet, go to your yoga class, self-care, and then, we'll get the job done.
I love it because it's looking at the way our parents had to work and miss out on all the activities that we had because they had to go on a business trip or they had a business supper or something like that, or they had to stay at the office late. You're building the future here with being virtual or semi-virtual with once or twice a year, meeting up and I'm sorry. The best parts of working in an office were when we were able to go out and have dinner together as a group. That was the best part. I love that part when I was working in corporate world. But yeah, I love that you took some of the best parts of corporate world and said, we're going to keep this, but we're going to get rid of all the daily necessaries of going into an office, which, listen, no one likes traveling into an office and being in that sterile environment. I'd rather be in my boxer shorts sitting at a desk, if I have to. I want to know, where do you see Foresight going in the next 10 years? Like, you've been doing this for quite some time, since 2009. You're going to be hitting 2 decades soon in a few years. What do you look like when you're in 3 decades in? What are we doing, Susan?
Oh, that's a really tough question. I like it. You've challenged me here, Phil. We do have a 10-year vision that we're about 3 years into at this point in time. We always have said we will be true to ourselves, and there is no world where we ever are required to go to an office. What we do is we provide communication solutions to encourage progress, right? So our clients are organizations who probably have some communication gaps, and they're seeking to grow or to implement a new program or to launch a new product, and they need help with communication. So we come in and we provide them with that support. That's an ever evolving industry, right? Obviously the buzz term that I have to use is AI. So we do have one on our team. We have a strategist. She's future thinking. She's always looking ahead. What are trends? What's going on? She is seeking opportunities, not only for Forethought, but for our clients in that AI space. So number one, in the next 10 years, we're looking at what are other products and services that we can offer our clients to support them in their communication solutions, right? That's first and foremost, our clients. As far as Forethought, we do have a growth plan, and we have been on a growth trajectory for the last couple of years pretty significantly. So we have growth plans as far as how many more team members do we want to bring on? How many number of clients do we want to have? What does that look like? We've actually toyed around one of our signature services is our magic sessions.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. Magic sessions are usually in person and sometimes can be virtual. They're basically workshops that we come in with clients, and the number one important goal is to align their team. Oftentimes what we see is with a marketing or an advertising agency, there's 1 or 2 liaisons that speak from the client side to the agency, and yet, when you come and present what the strategy and what the creative is, there's this room of like 5 or 6 other people that we never met. At Forethought, we require that everybody, any decision maker, is in the room at the very beginning. And we uncover any potential misalignment to say, wait a second, you think it's the doctor and you think it's the patient. Why? All right, let's figure this out. And oftentimes it's both, and we just have to prioritize. They usually don't have those conversations, right? At organizations, major organizations, everybody has their role, their accountability, their department, and we forget, it's human nature, we forget to do this, right? We're going up and down.
They're silos. They're individual silos.
Mm-hmm. And I have my KPIs, and I have my tasks or to-dos and objectives. But if I sit across the table and I understand what yours are, it's like, wait a second, there's an overlap there. Why are we wasting time if we can tap into your resources or if we can help you guys? So what we do is we bring all of these people to the table at once, and we align them while listening to what they have to say so that we can come back and grand slam it every single time, right? Our presentations are, we heard you, coupled with research, here's what needs to happen, here's why. And we literally have never left a room where somebody said, you're totally off base, that's not what we need to do. So we currently have 8 different magic session outlines, right? So depending on the deliverables, whether maybe you need a sales process. Sometimes people come in, they're like, oh, we want more leads. I'm like, show me your sales process. You don't have a sales process? Okay, let's do that first, and then we'll talk about the leads, right? So we have a sales process, we have a branding process, we have a strategy process. We've got 8 outlined, and we tailor them depending on what a client's needs are. We foresee developing more magic sessions or different types of magic sessions, and an easier way to do them virtually. We can do them. There are a couple that are much easier, and we have different props that we'll send ahead of time. But there's something about being together in a room that is especially for alignment, right? It really helps a lot. But as I said, with today's technology, whether we're using Mural or different tools, we definitely can make them happen magically, virtually as well.
I love it. Oh my God. With the time that you spent with Forethought and prior, how do you keep yourself the best version of yourself? What do you do to invest in yourself as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, as a human being, to make sure that you're functioning at the closest level of perfection? Because we know people can't be perfect, but closest to that level, like doing better than just good, you know? What do you do to invest in yourself?
Thank you. And you're right. Nobody's perfect. I feel like so many of us, being joyful and happy is what's going to make us be more or closer to perfect and really good. And to do that, the number one non-negotiable I have in my life is meditation. I really feel like when I meditate, I'm able to connect to a higher self, a higher power. It grounds me. It keeps me peaceful. It keeps me connected to my authenticity and my true self. So number one, I meditate every single day. Obviously, keeping our vehicles healthy, right? So walking, exercising. I do enjoy my chocolate. We try to eat healthy.
Listen, I'm not going to blame anybody for saying they love chocolate, because I'm a sweet tooth at heart. So you had me on the same page there. You said chocolate. I'm like, okay, we're best friends now.
And one of our core values at Forethought is have fun every day. And that's what I live by. Like, and listen, I've said it before, I love what I do. My career has been a tremendous passion of mine. There are days that are harder than others, right? You have bad days that maybe there was information that was not provided accurately. Someone else on the table, at the table had a difficult day or has something going on in their personal life. They took it out on you, whatever it might be. Things go wrong. Things don't get delivered on time, right? Things out of our control happen. On those days that I don't have as much fun as talking to you today. Like, fun. On those days, I say what I love to orchid. I'm a gardener. So I'll orchid, I'll dance, or I'll color with my daughter or do a puzzle with her, or, so it's make sure that if you had a little bit of a challenge and your day wasn't going as joyfully as you wanted to, have fun, create the fun. We all have the power to do it. There's no reason not to.
I think that's the best piece of advice. I can end the episode right here. Have fun. Boom. The forethought is to have fun. We are coming to I hate that the episodes go by so quickly. They just fly by and I'm like, I have so many more questions. So I have two questions. I'm going to hit you with two questions because I'm very interested. What are some of the most surprising lessons you learned from the diversity of your clientele, and how has that influenced, your approach to the strategy and the communication that you provide at Forethought? Okay.
Let me make sure I have the question. So what have I learned from the diversity of my clientele?
Yeah, so it's what have you learned from the diversity of your clientele, and how has it influenced your approach to strategy and communication at Forethought?
Okay, excellent. So the interesting thing about the diversity, as different as we are, we're all the same. Like, a lot of us just want the same basic needs in life, right? We want to be heard. We want to be seen. We want to be loved. And communication, 50% of communication is listening. So number one is respect, listening, organizing. Now, what's interesting though is clients, what sets them mostly apart is their target audience. We're all, for the most part, we're seeking to either provide a service or a product to someone. So understanding a client's target audience is the number one key. We create these key personas. So we have an actual visual of does this person look like? What makes them tick? How are we going to get them to respond? And how is this message going to resonate most with them? When we see how diverse it is, it's kind of cool. And the strategy is like, wow, the world is a beautiful place. And that what makes us go around is how different interests we have, right? We're all very similar in what we want, but at the end of the day, everybody has different interests. So with the strategies, once you understand the persona of who you're trying to seek, it's what message is going to resonate with them. And, everybody talks about storytelling, but it really is about emotionally, where do we get that connection? And how will this person feel valued and heard, as opposed to being told you need to buy this or you need to do this? It's like, no, here's some really good information about what we do or what product we have and how it can fit in your life aspirationally. Let's let you make the decision, being respectful and honor. Did that answer your question?
That certainly did. I love it because some people may know, I may not know, but I have 2 tattoos on me that say honor and respect.
Wow.
Yeah, so that just like hit me because I truly believe like you need to listen and respect someone's opinion. You got to honor people as well and honor their differences, because that's what makes this world go round. So I really, really do appreciate that. And that's like the first time I've ever told anybody that I have those tattoos. So you just stole that right out of here. So Suzanne, we're going to hit the last question.
Okay.
It's a big one. I have your 10-year-old self right beside me, and she is a spitfire. She's so much fun. We've been laughing. We've been coloring. It's been a lot of fun, but I want to know, what's one piece of advice you would love to be able to hand back to your 10-year-old self?
Have more fun. Have even more fun. So here's the funny part, right? And I'm going to say this, especially for those newer entrepreneurs, or, I'm an entrepreneur now for 15 years. And there's a moment in time in your career where you get really serious, right? I'm older now. I know I'm much older than you, Phil. But I don't know when that magic happens that you get past this hump and you suddenly don't really. Not that you don't care. Clearly, I think from the passion in my podcast today, you could see how much I care.
I think you care just a smidge. There's a bit of caring in there.
But you just don't take yourself as seriously, right? There's a point in life where you realize what is truly valuable, and having that conversation with a grandparent who might not be here tomorrow, or throwing the football with that nephew who, you don't spend as much time with because you're too busy working. You said it before. The generations of old didn't have the gift that we have. I don't know when it happened for me, but I remember as a 10-year-old, I had certain dreams and certain aspirations. And maybe in college, I started getting like, oh, I got to be successful and I have to do this and I have to. It's like, what is that? Who says? What does success mean? How do we define our success? So define your success before you drive towards something that is not yours, but someone else's, and someone else defined for you. So my 10-year-old self had a little, the paths are curvy. So we went one direction and luckily we came back and here we are. And that's why I share that with others, because if they're in that space and they can hear that right now, it would be a great gift if they could turn that wheel a little bit in the direction of what they define as success, not someone else's definition of success.
Friggin' love it. My God. I love it because it is. It's reminiscent of what Gary Vee says and others. It's like we have to redefine what success is for us. It's not having multi-billion dollars in the bank and, stressed out and gray hair and looking 85 years old when you're only in your 40s. We don't want that anymore because that's not fun. I love fun is needed more in life. And I love it. I can see it on your smile. And if you guys are watching the video, you can see how much Suzanne has smiled this whole thing. Her laugh is infectious, I must say. And if you're listening to this, if you don't hear the fun in her voice, you guys are missing out. And just re-listen to this episode at least 4 more times so I get more downloads, But Suzanne, I want to thank you so much for being here. I'm going to jump off stage. I want you to let my audience know where they can connect with you if they have the forethought, to hire you or even connect with you to see if there's something they can work with you. So the floor again is yours.
Thank you so much. Congratulations on being an entrepreneur, or if you're thinking about it, jump. It's so much fun. It's better to take the risk and learn or succeed. You can reach me at forethoughtmarketing.com, and I would love to converse, share more stories, give you some guidance, and really pep you up. Have a great day.
Suzanne, great. I love it. Straight to the point. Again, thank you so much for being here. It was a pleasure chatting with you.
It was lovely to meet you, Phil. Thank you for having me. I loved your questions.
To my audience, check out the show notes down below to connect with Suzanne and Forethought Marketing so that you can take your marketing to the next level and your communication to that level where you will be able to connect with your audience. I want to thank you for listening. Thank you again, Suzanne, for being here. And as always, audience, remember to invest in yourself.
Thanks for joining us on Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. The Podcast Mogul reminds you that your journey to freedom and success starts with one powerful move: investing in yourself. If today's episode sparked your fire, hit that follow button on Spotify and drop us a comment. Share your wins, your challenges, and what drives you to break free from the corporate grind. Remember, you're your best investment. Always invest in yourself because your potential is limitless. Until next time, keep hustling and take control of your destiny.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.